Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe, read for LibriVox.org by Howard Dratch. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived, whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Brahma by Ralph Waldo Emerson, read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. If the red slayer think he slays, or if the slain think he is slain, they know not well the subtle ways I keep, and pass, and turn again. Far or forgot to me is near, shadow and sunlight are the same. The vanished gods to me appear, and one to me are shame and fame. They reckon ill who leave me out. When me they fly, I am the wings. I am the doubter and the doubt, and I the hymn the Brahman sings. The strong gods pine from my abode, and pine in vain the sacred seven. But thou, meek lover of the good, find me and turn thy back on heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Dong sounds the brass in the east by Henry David Thoreau. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. Dong sounds the brass in the east, as if to a funeral feast. But I like the sound the best out of the fluttering west. The steeple ringeth a knell, but the fairies' silver bell is the voice of that gentle folk, or else the horizon that spoke. Its metal is not of brass, but air and water and glass, and under a cloud it is swung, and by the wind it is rung. When the steeple tolleth the noon, it soundeth not so soon, yet it rings a far earlier hour, and the sun has not reached its tower. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. From Eve's Apology in Defense of Women, by Amelia Lanier. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. But surely Adam cannot be excused. Her fault, though great, yet he was most to blame. What weakness offered, strength might have refused. Being Lord of all, the greater was his shame. Although the serpent's craft had her abused, God's holy word ought all his actions frame. For he was Lord and King of all the earth, before poor Eve had either life or breath. Who being framed by God's eternal hand, the perfectest man that ever breathed on earth, and from God's mouth received the straight command, the breach whereof he knew was present death, yea, having power to rule both sea and land, yet with one apple won to lose that breath which God had breathed in his beauteous face, bringing us all in danger and disgrace, and then to lay the fault on patience back, that we, poor women, must endure it all. We know right well he did discretion lack, being not persuaded thereunto at all. If Eve did err, it was for knowledge's sake. The fruit being fair persuaded him to fall. No subtle serpent's falsehood did betray him. If he would eat it, who had power to stay him? Not Eve, whose fault was only too much love, which made her give this present to her dear, that what she tasted he likewise might prove, whereby his knowledge might become more clear. He never sought her weakness, to reprove with those sharp words which he of God did hear. Yet men will boast of knowledge, which he took from Eve's fair hand, as from a learned book. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
From One Who Stays by Amy Lowell. Read for LibriVox.org by Leanne Howlett. From One Who Stays. How empty seems the town now you are gone. A wilderness of sad streets where gaunt walls hide nothing to desire. Sunshine falls, eerie, distorted, as it long had shone on white, dead faces tombed in halls of stone. The whir of motors, stricken through with calls of playing boys, floats up at intervals. But all these noises blur to one long moan. What quest is worth pursuing? And how strange that other men still go accustomed ways. I hate their interest in the things they do. A spectre horde repeating without change an old routine. Alone I know the days are stillborn and the world stopped, lacking you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Good Morrow by John Donne. Read for LibriVox by Elizabeth Klett. I wonder, by my troth, what thou and I did till we loved. Were we not weaned till then, but sucked on country pleasures childishly? Or snorted we in the seven sleepers' den? 'Twas so. But this, all pleasures fancies be. If ever any beauty I did see, which I desired and got, 'twas but a dream of thee. And now good morrow to our waking souls, which watch not one another out of fear, for love all love of other sights controls, and makes one little room an everywhere. Let sea discoverers to new worlds have gone, let maps to other worlds on worlds have shown. Let us possess one world, each hath one, and is one. My face in thine eye, thine in mine appears, and true plain hearts do in the faces rest. Where can we find two better hemispheres, without sharp north, without declining west? Whatever dies was not mixed equally. If our two loves be one, or thou and I love so alike that none can slacken, none can die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Helen of Troy by Sarah Teasdale. Read for LibriVox.org by Squid Varilekova. Found at frisco-squid.blogspot.com. Helen of Troy. Wild flight on flight against the fading dawn, the flame's red wings soar upward duskily. This is the funeral pyre, and Troy is dead, that sparkled so the day I saw it first, and darkened slowly after. I am she who loves all beauty, yet I wither it. Why have the gods made me wreak their wrath? Forever, since my maidenhood, to sow sorrow and blood about me? Lo, they keep their bitter care above me even now. It was the gods who led me to this lair, that though the burning winds should make me weak, they should not snatch the life from out my lips. Olympus let the other women die. They shall be quiet when the day is done, and have no care tomorrow. Yet for me there is no rest. The gods are not so kind to her made half immortal like themselves. It is to you I owe the cruel gift, Leda my mother, and the swan my sire. To you the beauty, and to you the bale, for never woman born of man or maid had wrought such havoc on the earth as I, or troubled heaven with a sea of flame, that climbed to touch the silent whirling stars and blotted out their brightness ere the dawn. Have I not made the world to weep enough? Give death to me. Yet life is more than death. How could I leave the sound of singing winds, the strong sweet scent that breathes from off the sea, or shut my eyes forever to the spring? I will not give the grave my hands to hold, my shining hair to light oblivion. Have those who wander through the ways of death, the still wan fields Elysian, any love to lift their breasts with longing? Any lips to thirst against the quiver of a kiss? Lo, I shall live to conquer Greece again, to make the people love who hate me now. My dreams are over. I have ceased to cry against the fate that made men love my mouth, and left their spirits all too deaf to hear the little songs that echoed through my soul. I have no anger now. The dreams are done. Yet since the Greeks and Trojans would not see aught but my body's fairness, till the end, in all the islands set in all the seas, and all the lands that lie beneath the sun, till light turn darkness and till time shall sleep, men's lives shall waste with longing after me. For I shall be the sum of their desire, the whole of beauty never seen again, and they shall stretch their arms, and, starting, wake with Helen on their lips, and in their eyes the vision of me. Always I shall be limned on the darkness, like a shaft of light that glimmers and is gone. They shall behold, each one, his dream that fashions me anew, with hair like lakes that glint beneath the stars, dark as sweet midnight, or with hair aglow like burnished gold that still retains the fire. Yea, I shall haunt until the dusk of time the heavy eyelids filled with fleeting dreams. I wait for one who comes with sword to slay, the king I wronged who searches for me now, and yet he shall not slay me. I shall stand with lifted head and look within his eyes, baring my breast to him and to the sun. He shall not have the power to stain with blood that whiteness, for the thirsty sword shall fall, and he shall cry and catch me in his arms, bearing me back to Sparta on his breast. Lo, I shall live to conquer Greece again. End of poem. This poem is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This is a poem, I Died for Beauty, by Emily Dickinson, 1890. Read by Howard Dratch. I died for beauty, but was scarce adjusted in the tomb, when one who died for truth was lain in an adjoining room. He questioned softly why I failed. For beauty, I replied. And I for truth, themself are one we brethren are, he said. And so, as kinsmen met a night, we talked between the rooms, until the moss had reached our lips and covered up our names. End of I Died for Beauty by Emily Dickinson.
It is Time to Begin to Conclude by A.H. Laidlaw. Read for LibriVox.org by SueAnn Dozier on April 7th, 2007 in Kansas City, Kansas. Ye parsons, desire us all sinners to save, and to make each a prig or a prude. If 2,000 long years have not made us behave, it is time you began to conclude. Ye husbands, who wish your sweet mates to grow mum, and whose tongues you have never subdued, if 10 years of your reign have not made them grow dumb, it is time to begin to conclude. Ye matrons of men, whose brown meerschaum still mars the sweet kiss with tobacco bedewed, after pleading 9 years, if they still puff cigars, it is time you began to conclude. Ye lawyers, who aim to reform all the land, and your statutes forever intrude, if 5,000 lost years have not worked as you planned, it is time to begin to conclude. Ye lovers, who sigh for the heart of a maid, and 44 years have pursued, if 2 scores of young years have not taught you your trade, it is time you began to conclude. Ye doctors, who claim to cure every ill, and so much of mock learning exude, if the comma bacillus still laughs at your pill, it is time to begin to conclude. Ye maidens of 50, who lonely abide, yet who heartily scout solitude, if Jack with his whiskers is not at your side, it is time to begin to conclude. End of poem. This is in the public domain.
The Martyr by Herman Melville, indicative of the Passion of the People on the 15th of April, 1865. Read for LibriVox.org by Peter Bobbe. Good Friday was the day of the prodigy and crime, when they killed him in his pity, when they killed him in his prime. Of clemency and calm, when with yearning he was filled, to redeem the evil-willed, and, though conqueror, be kind. But they killed him in his kindness, in their madness and their blindness, and they killed him from behind. There is sobbing of the strong, and a pall upon the land, but the people in their weeping bear the iron hand. Beware the people weeping when they bear the iron hand. He lieth in his blood, the Father in his face. They have killed him, the forgiver. The avenger takes his place, the avenger wisely stern, who in righteousness shall do what the heavens call him to, and the parricides remand, for they killed him in his kindness, in their madness and their blindness, and his blood is on their hand. There is sobbing of the strong, and a pall upon the land, but the people in their weeping bear the iron hand. Beware the people weeping when they bear the iron hand. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
My Heart's in the Highlands by Robert Burns. Read for LibriVox.org by Julian Jamison. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the North, the birthplace of valor, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I rove, the hills of the Highlands forever I love. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, a-chasing the wild deer, and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. Farewell to the mountains high, covered with snow. Farewell to the straths and green valleys below. Farewell to the forests and wild hanging woods. Farewell to the torrents and loud pouring floods. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, a-chasing the wild deer, and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Never and Forever by George Charles Selden. Read for LibriVox.org by Leanne Howlett. Never and forever. I stood by the rushing river and watched its eddies whirl, where in its rocky channel the rolling ripples curl, and my heart was sad and weary, for I mourned a life that was o'er, and I said in my soul's deep sorrow, ah, never, never more. Again I stood by the river, when years had passed away, and watched its whirling eddies and watched its ripples play, and my heart was glad within me, for I knew on the other shore once more I should be with my loved one, forever and evermore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Ocean by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. The ocean has its silent caves, deep, quiet, and alone. Though there be fury on the waves, beneath them there is none. The awful spirits of the deep hold their communion there, and there are those for whom we weep, the young, the bright, the fair. Calmly the wearied seamen rest beneath their own blue sea. The ocean solitudes are blessed, for there is purity. The earth has guilt, the earth has care, unquiet are its graves, but peaceful sleep is ever there, beneath the dark blue waves. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On Monsieur's Departure by Queen Elizabeth I. Read for LibriVox.org by Elizabeth Klett. I grieve and dare not show my discontent. I love and yet am forced to seem to hate. I do, yet dare not say I ever meant. I seem stark mute, but inwardly do prate. I am and not, I freeze and yet am burned, since from myself another self I turned. My care is like my shadow in the sun, follows me flying, flies when I pursue it, stands and lies by me, doth what I have done. His too familiar care doth make me rue it. No means I find to rid him from my breast, till by the end of things it be suppressed. Some gentler passion slide into my mind, for I am soft and made of melting snow, or be more cruel, love, and so be kind. Let me or float or sink, be high or low, or let me live with some more sweet content, or die, and so forget what love e'er meant. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Squid Varilekova. Found at frisco-squid.blogspot.com. Sonnet 116. Let me not, to the marriage of true minds, admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no! It is never fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to the ever-wandering bark, whose worth's unknown although its height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. End of poem. This reading is in the public domain.
Two by Sarah Helen Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. Vainly my heart had with thy sorceries striven. It had no refuge from thy love, no heaven but in thy fatal presence. From afar it owned thy power, and trembled like a star overfraught with light and splendor. Could I deem how dark a shadow should obscure its beam? Could I believe that pain could ever dwell where thy bright presence cast its blissful spell? Thou wert my proud Palladium. Could I fear the avenging destinies when thou wert near? Thou wert my destiny. Thy song, thy fame, the wild enchantments clustering round thy name, were my soul's heritage, its royal dower, its glory and its kingdom and its power. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To the Cuckoo by Michael Bruce. Read for LibriVox.org by Beth Zabrowski. Hail, beauteous stranger of the wood, attendant on the spring! Now heaven repairs thy rural seat, and woods thy welcome sing. Soon as the daisy decks the green, thy certain voice we hear. Hast thou a star to guide thy path, or mark the rolling year? Delightful visitant, with thee I hail the time of flowers, when heaven is filled with music sweet of birds among the bowers. The schoolboy wandering in the wood to pull the flowers so gay starts thy curious voice to hear, and imitates thy lay. Soon as the pea puts on the bloom, thou fliest thy vocal veil, an annual guest in other lands, another spring to hail. Sweet bird, thy bower is ever green, thy sky is ever clear. Thou hast no sorrow in thy song, no winter in thy year. Alas, sweet bird, not so my fate. Dark scowling skies I see, fast gathering round and fraught with woe, and wintry years to me. Oh, could I fly, I'd fly with thee. We'd make, with social wing, our annual visit o'er the globe, companions of the spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
What lips my lips have kissed, and where and why, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Read for LibriVox.org by Squid Varilekova. Found at frisco-squid.blogspot.com. What lips my lips have kissed, and where and why, I have forgotten, and what arms have lain under my head till morning. But the rain is full of ghosts tonight that tap and sigh upon the glass and listen for reply. And in my heart there stirs a quiet pain for unremembered lads that not again will turn to me at midnight with a cry. Thus in the winter stands the lonely tree, nor knows what birds have vanished one by one, yet knows its boughs more silent than before. I cannot say what loves have come and gone. I only know that summer sang in me a little while, that in me sings no more. End of poem. This reading is in the public domain.
The Years at the Spring by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Peter Bobbe. The years at the spring, and days at the morn, mornings at 7, the hillsides dew-pearled, the larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn. God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Yuma by Charles Henry Phelps. Read for LibriVox.org by Barbara Pfaff of Perryville, Missouri, March 2007. Weary, weary, desolate, sand-swept, parched, and cursed of fate, burning but oh how passionless, barren, bald, and pitiless, through all ages, baleful moons glared upon thy whitened dunes, and malignant, wrathful suns fiercely drank thy streamless runs, so that nature's only tune is the blare of cinnamoons, pierce burnt, unswept skies with awful monodies. Not a flower lifts its head where the immigrant lies dead, not a living creature calls where the Gila monster crawls. Hot and hideous as the sun, the dead man's skeleton, but the desert and the dead, and the hot hell overhead, and the blazing, seething air, and the dread mirage are there. This recording is in the public domain.